Hello everybody, it's Adam here for A Strings, and in today's video we are taking two of the most sought after, yes that's the word I'm looking for, the most sought after Fender run of guitars this year. This year is 2023, right now, so when we're filming it, in autumn winter, hence the wonderful jumper and studious glasses. It's an autumn winter look, let me tell you. We are pitting the American Vintage 2 61 Stratocaster up against its sibling from the Vintera 2 series. This is the 60s Stratocaster. And we thought, hey, we've got one of each of the same sort of color and spec and style. Let's get them in the room and see how they compare. So before we started, you would have heard a little blind test for you. And you can sort of take your guesses. Place your bets, make your choices now, because we're about to reveal it now, Tom? We're going to reveal it now. Here we go. Here is the reveal. So that's the result of the blind test. So you've got a little bit of a flavour of the tonal differences between these two guitars. Now, spec-wise, if you were to look at a spec sheet on either one of these, it's very, 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 very close and very similar. We're decked out pretty much the same, apart from a few minor things. This one being a gloss poly finish, and we have the nitro on the American Vintage 2, and on the Vintera 2, we have what they're calling a vintage 60s pickup set, whereas on the American Vintage 2 it is a 61 vintage set. So different pickup sets in both, but we've got things like slab rosewood fingerboards, alder bodies, maple necks, 7.25 radius, 42 mil nut. You know, we're there. We're talking about this near enough the same guitar, you know. So we're going to scatter some sounds through the video as well, just for your sort of aural pleasure. Just so you know, we are using a bit of a unique amp, really. This is a deluxe reverb from Fender, but it is the Pine Neo. So neodymium speaker in there, pine construction, making it a bit more lightweight. But essentially, deluxe reverb. We were going into the Vintage 1 input with a bit of reverb. We were mic'd up with the 57, as always, into our recorder, and that was it. We were back and forth between the guitars, and we tried to keep it as consistent as possible. There is a lot of outtakes where I was trying to keep everything consistent. Tom would like me to tell you about how I felt playing them. Extremely similar, as you would imagine. I didn't note earlier, but I should say it now as I'm talking about them. There is a slightly different profile on the back of the neck, but nothing noticeable, nothing substantial, nothing that goes, oh my God, you know, this is a totally different guitar. I have to get used to playing it for 5 minutes. Playing wise, very, very similar. just in terms of the setup, this action is the action is slightly higher. Setup is setup though. You know, you could get a guitar like the guitars that come into us at A Strings. They go through our service bench before, you know, when they come in, when they get inspected, and they go on the service bench after they've been sold, as a matter of course anyway. So setup is personal preference anyway. I just feel like in the room, this action is slightly higher, gives me a little bit more tension, which makes it more to what I'm used to. At the moment I'm playing on 11s on a lot of my stuff, so I've got a bit more fight. But this, a little bit lower, a little bit slinkier feeling, which is lovely, which is great. But I just have to be a bit more kind of careful and think about my pressure on the strings and that kind of thing. Both beautiful guitars. I can tell you that they are, if you were to sit with them unplugged and play like this, it would be extremely hard to pick between the two. And I don't think, other than the aesthetic differences of, say, the clay dots and a nitro finish, there's not enough in it for me to pick the American one like this. But then we get to the tones. So tonally is where things start to separate for us. When we first plugged in, we noticed that this one has more output. It feels like it's got more output. It feels like there's a feels like there's a compressor there, you know, just giving everything a nice kind of even signal through, you know, over the strings, that kind of thing. And that was the same across all of the pickups. It was definitely like this consistency across it. But the American Vintage 61 pickups are more musical. What did you say? It has the beef. I think when we were filming, Tom says that. What did you actually say?
Beef sandwiches.
That again. Tom's words were that has the beef sandwiches about the 61. So there's something musical about this one. It isn't as direct in tone. Again, if that makes any sense. It's not kind of there, you know, in front of you going, this is how I sound, this is this. I think it needs a bit more coaxing. I would probably say that it would really, really do nicely with, you know, maybe like a little bit of a push into the amp. It's not lacking output. I just feel like just to kind of get a bit more hitting the amp maybe. But tonally, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So at the time of recording, there is about £1,000 worth of difference between these two. 1,000 English sterling pounds in cash monies difference between these two. So we've been doing some A strings maths here, and we have figured out that £1,000 buys you, we think, around 700 pepper armies. Now, if you are not sure what a pepper army is, give it a quick Google. It's basically spicy sausage, Tom, I guess, little snack things, you know. Anyway, we figured out that 700 sausages is around half the height, end on end, of the Eiffel Tower. Okay, so if you imagine the Eiffel Tower and then you imagine this tiny slim pillar of meat, that's the difference. That's the difference between these two guitars in price. So you could buy this and 700 pepper armies, or you could buy that, but you wouldn't have the pepper armies. So, you know, the choice is yours. And if anything, it's a testament to how seriously we take ourselves that we went and did all of these sums for you, because now you don't have to do them. it's a it's a big chunk of change. It's a big bit of money between the two. The questions that I would sort of ask are, because they play so similarly and they look so great. This one doesn't lack in looks, what the American one does. Obviously, the Nitro will age and wear in a different way to what the Poly will. The Poly just, will just stay. So there's that kind of aspect of it, I suppose. They're both proper rosewood boards. It's we're looking at the same sort of timbers. So you kind of think, right, okay, so if it's the sound, then how much is a set of pickups going to cost me? Then the only difference really is a hard case and an American label, I suppose. And this does sound like I'm saying the American ones are not worth the money, and that's not the case. Like if you were to say to me, which one would you pick? It's going to be the American Vintage 2 because it just sounds so musical. It's just it's just there. Whereas this needs something else. For me, again, you might listen to this and like the sound of this. In which case, get this, because it's absolutely killer. I'm just saying comparatively. Now, the one thing that we always say as well is go and try these things in person. These videos are great, and there's a ton more videos on these guitars with players that can play way better than I can, but it'll never, ever, ever be like trying it in a shop or hearing it through an amp and feeling it, dig into the amp in person. So always go and try them. Setup-wise, obviously, things can change. Things can be moved around, heavier strings, lighter strings, whatever you fancy. Different material strings. So it is all adjustable, and I suppose the choices are always subjective to person. So really, what do these videos do? Hopefully, they give you an idea of the differences between these two and either allow you to be able to justify the difference or say, no, I've got absolutely no need in spending an extra grand. So that is it. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Adam for A Strings. Tom is there behind the camera, salivating, ready for a pepperami or a beef sandwich, whatever he fancies. The world's his oyster. Now I'm talking about oysters. Jeez. We are A Strings. We are a guitar shop in South Wales in the UK. Our website is astrings.co.uk, where you can find all of our products, including these two guitars and all of the other American Vintage 2 and Vintera 2s there, ready for you to have a look at, peruse, and, well, just go buy one. Just go buy one. So that is it. Our Facebook is A Strings Guitar Specialists. Our Instagram is at A Strings UK. Our TikTok at A Strings UK, and you can find all of the things, including the little shorts from this video, the A/B tests, that kind of thing. They'll be on all of our social medias as well. So that is it. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video very, very soon. Until then, take care and have a pepperami on us. Bye-bye.